Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is Megan Holly, and it's yet another episode of Taking Flight. I hope you are doing well, and this episode finds you feeling good in your days. And today, once in a while, I like to kind of add a little bit of tough love into the situation here, and I think this one will end up having a little bit of that in it, but it starts with kind of the idea that I need us all to remember, myself included, that we are worth having the best things that are happening in, for, and around us in life. And so often we kind of give ourselves the crap end of the deal. We put our energy into everybody else. We create all of this beautiful, right, synergy in our kids' lives and our clients' lives and all the things. And then when it comes to ourselves or the things that we need or just what we are called to do more of or less of, we don't give it the same attention. And so today, I'm going to share a little bit about my story of finding my own way to continue advocating for myself. We're going to kind of hone in on that aspect of caring for ourselves and making our needs come to life and into play, because they need to be there. They need to be at the forefront. And for me, my advocacy story starts many years ago, and it was kind of in relation to my health in the way of having really, really, really bad acne. So I have something called polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS, and many times that can have a lot of different symptoms, and every person that has it is all over the board with what symptoms they have. But one of mine was really troubled skin, and I'm talking, it was real bad at some points in time. And I spent years going through just a lot of trial and error and trial and error. Like many teenagers, I had the average, breakouts here and there, and they weren't fun, but they weren't anything so different than, kind of the average person at that time going through all those changes and all of that. But it became very apparent when I was about 19 going on 20 that this was something different. And at that time, right, I'm so young, my mom is still guiding me, and there's a lot of, other people in play in kind of advocating for what my needs were. And so there was a lot of misfires and money spent on things and places and treatments that didn't do the job. And it got to a point over those first few years that it was getting really, really bad, painfully bad from like an actual physically, it was painful for me, but also just the average person. And I want to share this because I want people to know that, they're not alone when they're dealing with something that is kind of outwardly uncomfortable. There would be people, and my husband actually we were very early on dating. I don't even know if we were dating at the time. We might have just been friends, but we went to a gas station and people would comment like, oh my goodness, I've tried this, I've tried that. Unsolicited advice for me and my skin, because it was so apparent how bad and uncomfortable and just out of control it was. Now, it wasn't because of lack of trying. Believe me, at that young, ripe age, I wanted nothing more than my skin to calm down and be normal. And it wasn't, right? There was nothing that was helping it, at least at that point, because I wasn't advocating for the right things. And my mom and I in particular were doing the work to find solutions, but it was all Band-Aids. It was all masks. It was all sort of helping, but not really. And I'm using this example because this can go into so many pockets of our lives. Something can be sort of helping, but not really. It can be a Band-Aid for a little bit. It can be like a mask that is making us feel as though something is better, but it's not. This is literally an outward version of that. But for you, it may be something completely different. It could be in your health. It could be in your relationships, your career, all of that. So wherever this takes you, I hope it helps you kind of create the voice and the choices that go along with it to really get you where you deserve to be. So going back to that, we were doing so many things. We were going to dermatologists, estheticians. We were spending, I don't want to think about the amount of money that we spent on all the things to try to get this to something that was at least tolerable and not so uncomfortable. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of it, especially because of it being hormonal, was, you know, there was lifestyle playing into it, and there was just so many other things that at the time, right, you're not thinking. You're just, when you are in disarray, when you are in an uncomfortable situation, you will just kind of throw the dart and do whatever it lands on. You know what I mean? And so if you're in a space or place with anything in your life, that's where you're kind of at. You're just like, throw the dart. I don't even know where to go. So this will be what I'll do. Hear me out. Hear me out. Because at that time, it got to the point where one of the choices was going to possibly be Accutane. If you've heard of Accutane, it is a medication that, you know, is very successful for acne, but also has a lot of known side effects and a lot of other things. Now, not knocking anybody who chooses to do anything in their life. I want to remind you of that. This is not me telling you what to do. This is not medical advice. It is none of that. It is just my experience, right? As I always say. But it just, at that young age, I knew, right? Because I had the option and I could have. If I said yes, that would have been the way we would have went. But I knew, and I don't remember exactly how old I was when that was kind of where we were at. But I was just like, I can't. I have this one body. I should have known that I was going to be kind of the crunchy, hippy dippy person that I became as an older adult, because even at that young age, I was already just like, it just didn't feel right for me. It did not feel right for me. And so on top of just learning to advocate for ourselves, listening to ourselves is so important too. And so if nothing else, I hope that this helps you dive down into making the choices that feel best for you without anybody clouding your thoughts or ideas. And so I kept just pushing back. No, this is not for me. This is not for me. This is not for me. So we did not do that. We did not go down that route. And I'm very thankful personally that I didn't, because I ended up finding a route that made the most sense for me. And it became still a handful of years later. And yes, years. The worst of my skin was probably about 6 to 7 years of just consistently rough situations going on this thing we call a face for me. And so a long time, and it was a longer stretch of time where it was problematic, but I'm saying those were the years that it was really, really rough. And it took going to just kind of the depths of what is going to be the actual answer for me. What is it going to be? Right? I had done the peels. I'd done all the things. And some of them seemed hopeful and then didn't. I'd been on medications and then it just never was quite there. What happened was this. I was, I think, 7 or 8 months shy of being a bride, wearing a wedding dress and having that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm walking down the aisle and this day is exciting and about having family and friends and all of us around me and my husband. And for me, it was mainly like the exciting part of just celebrating life, really, honestly, was what really excited me about that, having so many people that you loved in one place. I digress, but I cried the day after our wedding, not because of anything, but that because it was over and I loved being with people. I also cry when vacations end, because I just am so sad that those like really fun, like kind of intentional times, it's over and we're going back into like autopilot town, you know? And it's just like, anyways. So I'm at this kind of sticky point of, I want some relief. Now I knew realistically at the heart of hearts, and we have to, right? When we are in moments where we know the outcome's not going to be quick and we know that the Band-Aid is not the answer anymore, telling you, right? We have to get real with those moments. And I knew in my heart of hearts that I was not going to have some clear glass looking skin in 7 months, especially at the state it was in at that point. But I knew there had to be something. And so I got gritty. I started researching. I started looking into this. I started looking into that. I found somebody local that was all about just skin health and acne health and all of it. And that was my answer. I walked into that first consultation, and this beautiful soul said to me, who is still in my life and still helping this skin of mine be healthy and happy, she said, I'm serious about results here, and I'm serious about people having the most healthy skin. And I thought, okay, all right, we're off to a good start. And I'm not going to go into all the nitty gritty, but I knew I was in the right place. I knew I made choices that got me there. And then my advocacy of, no, this isn't for me. Yes, that is for me. I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to understand that there's things that I need to research, get to the kind of underbelly of all of it, has taken me here. And I'm really excited about it. And that was the change of everything. It took me from drastically painful, constant, all over the place hormonal skin problems to at a stage now where I have some of the scarring left, and I'm open about that because we all have things, right? And we're working on keeping my skin as healthy and beautiful as possible. And I'm so thankful for where I am now. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't listen to my heart of hearts, which is the core of what this episode is about. Truly, the core of what this episode is about is listening to your heart of hearts, advocating the hell out of yourself. Continue moving in the direction in which you know is best for you. And if you are not sure, you are still throwing the darts and you are still confused, or there's too many people in your ear, right? Like I had Accutane, I had all these things. And at the young, ripe age I was at, was very easy for me to be like, okay, sure, why not? Try whatever. But for whatever reason, I was just really, 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 really hell-bent on that not being my option. For whatever reason. I believe in intuition. I believe that we are our own best gurus in a lot of things in life. We just don't listen enough. But what if you did? What if you listened to whatever it is that you really needed and acted on whatever that is? Now, I know that's way easier said than done, because in life, in relationships, in business growth, in letting go of something or someone, there is so much more than just, I know this is right for me, so I'm going to make this choice. If it was that easy, we'd all go, okay, well, this is a little bit scary, but here I go, right? There's just so much more. But when we continue to make it kind of part of our essence to continue speaking up, to continue to listening to that still small voice, knowing what's right or wrong for ourselves, is when we get the answers that we need, the changes that we're looking for, the life and the goal that maybe we're envisioning or we have been envisioning, right? If you've been around, you know that I'm about these small, just little kind of tweaks are truly what create our lives to be what they are or what they're not. And our advocacy for what that looks like is at the core of it. Like if we broke down kind of what that looks like from a strategic standpoint, or even really an energetic standpoint, if we want to get a little woo-woo, it's really getting back to our voice, getting back to what we know to do. It's great to research. It's great to have input. It's great to have support or accountability. And these are all wonderful tools that we should absolutely use within these transitions, transformations, places we don't feel like we fit in anymore. We should absolutely use those. But at the end of the day, extracting out the things that really help us get there and taking action and advocacy for them is the most important. We so often, I'll leave you with this, we so often get so wrapped up into how it's going to make others feel, think, look, what they're going to say to us. Right? I had people say, well, I mean, maybe giving Accutane a try could be it, right? And it's no shade to that section of my story or those people. They were putting in their 2 cents and their thoughts and what they thought could be best. But at the end of the day, right, we can take in the information, we can extract what we need from it, and then we make our own choices. And it might not always lead us down the perfect road. Who knows? Another version of my story is that I didn't do that, and that still to this day, I still had super, super problematic skin. I mean, I don't know, right? There's a lot of different versions of all of our stories. But what I know to be true is that you'll find your way to the one that best suits you when you use your voice. So if nothing else from this episode, I hope it empowers you to speak up, to send the message, to send the email, to start the conversation, to say no to the things that don't feel right, to say yes to more things that maybe stretch your comfort zone a little bit, but they do the job. Yes, that's what we need more of in this life. So I want you to go into this day, this week, this season that you are in, knowing that your voice matters, that how you use it, what you do with it is something that can make and help you shapeshift into something that feels really good. Someone, I should say, that feels really freaking good. Because when you look back and you're proud of the choices you made and the voice that maybe was a little shaky but strong, that's where it's at, my friends. So go on into this week and feel just kind of grounded into that beautiful voice of yours. And until next time, have a beautiful day.